Joining me now to critique everything I've done in my entire life, we have Steve Moore of Freedom Works and the Committee to Unleash Prosperity and the Heritage Foundation and author of Govzilla, and Steve Forbes, Forbes Media Chairman and Editor-in-Chief and author of Inflation, What It Is, Why It's Bad, and How to Fix It. Gentlemen, it is a pleasure to have you on set together. Let's begin with the Fed. The Fed signals they're going to have a recession. The way to fight inflation is a recession. So stocks fell. You know, at one point they were down yesterday and today about 1,200 points. What do you make of it, Steve Forbes?
I'm just surprised the stock market's taken so long to wake up to what the Federal Reserve has been doing for months.
Right.
And that is the belief that you fight inflation by making people poor. They don't realize rising prices are a symptom of inflation and not the cause of inflation. So when they put the economy in a recession, prices will come down because people are poor. Businesses have to discount stuff to sell it. And so they have their recession. Prices go down. They think they've conquered inflation. Unless you return stability to the dollar, make it worth holding again, and have, instead of this yo-yo thing you have now, so people can make plans for the future, you're just going to have another problem with inflation. They did this throughout the 70s. Brought on a recession, prices came down, then they trashed the dollar again. That's what Jay Powell is doing.
By the way, after rising for a while, the dollar's coming right back down. I don't know if you noticed.
Yes,
gold prices.
You see it in the index.
Gold prices, after falling for a while, has come right back up, probably because of all this ambiguity. I think you make a great point. But Steve Moore, I mean, the Fed may be fighting yesterday's battle. They may be a lagging indicator. You got all these, I mean, today, for example, retail sales fell, industrial production and manufacturing fell. Those are two very important coincident indicators. Both fell. The money supply is falling. The index of leading indicators is falling. The yield curve is on its head. Short rates are way above long rates. Those are all recession signals. So what should he be doing?
I just add to that new Fox poll that just came out today. I think it was 4 out of 5 Americans that only rate the economy as fair or poor. I mean, those are lousy numbers. By the way, when you were over at the White House, Larry, about 6 out of 10 Americans rated the economy as good or great. So that's quite a reversal. You nailed it with your opening statement, by the way. Bravo. And Rand Paul is one of the few real heroes, unfortunately, that we have in the Senate.
He ought to run. Don't mean to interrupt. He ought to run for president again. I mean,
he ought to. He ought to.
You know what? He ought to run for president.
He's also been really good, by the way, on taking on these outrageous vaccine mandates, too.
Right.
So he's a real libertarian. I'm a libertarian myself, so I like
free markets.
He's a free market guy.
Free markets.
I'll just have one thing to all of everything you said is correct on what's going on with the spending, and I call it the omnibusted because it's going to bust this country. It's terrible politics, Larry. I mean, what are the Republicans? I can't tell you. I talked to conservative leaders. People are confused. They're angry. Look, in 4 weeks, the Republicans will take control of the House. What sense does it make to negotiate with Pelosi and Chucky Schumer at this point? It makes no sense. It's a downer for the economy. It's a downer for the party. We need more leadership. And yes, just press the button. Let those automatic cuts happen. And incidentally, that's $130 billion out of $4 trillion that Biden has spent. They can't find $130 billion of savings? Come on.
I mean, to put this together, the Fed and look, the Fed monetary and fiscal policy, that's the monetary and fiscal mix. You want a growth-oriented fiscal policy, which we do not have, and you want a strong dollar-oriented monetary policy, right, which we don't have. Now, my thought here, Jay Powell won't do this, but he really should walk up the street and talk to some of these leaders and ask for help and say, you got to help me with some growth measures because then I won't have to kill the economy by keep cutting back on interest rates and the money supply. Now, he won't do that, okay? At least I don't think he'll do that. But isn't something like that necessary here? I don't mean to be wordy here, but Steve, the Fed is essentially telling people they want a recession to conquer inflation. And it's like there's no other options on the table, and there should be.
Well, that's the thing. He is talk about a lagging indicator. He's always late. He was late fighting inflation. Right. Now he's going to be late fighting a recession, an unnecessary recession. And he, back in that August, he talked in Jackson Hole about, we're not going to make the money. We've learned the lessons of the 1970s. We must conquer inflation. Well, you don't conquer it by trashing the economy. When in the early 1980s, Larry, it wasn't just the recession that conquered inflation. It was what Paul Volcker and Ronald Reagan did after that recession. They stabilized the dollar better than what they did in the 70s. They had these great growth measures, which the whole world imitated. 50 countries cut taxes after we did. And so you had a global boom. We boomed, the world boomed. Silicon Valley became bywords for cutting-edge technology instead of stagnant politics. And so you have a situation today where they're doing just the opposite. And it's just so bizarre. So he could go to Capitol Hill, but he has no real credibility because he was cheerleading the spending in 2021.
Yes, he was.
You know, sorry to interrupt, Steve, but on your point, you know, if you think about since the beginning of COVID, what we've really done as a national strategy is we've grown the government and shrunk the private sector. You know? And now it is time to shrink the government and grow the private sector. And you do that through the Forbes agenda of lower tax rates and all of those things. But you also have to cut government spending. And I would make the case to you that cuts in government spending would be a more effective way to reduce inflation right now than raising interest rates.
Well, I think that's right. I think that for whatever reason, there's a very close relationship with the spending, which was temporary, and the inflation. Then the temporary stuff started to run off. Inflation is coming down. They're going to run the inflation rate back up again through these spending bills. But let me ask you this politically. Why aren't the Republican senators, leadership and others, talking about a growth and prosperity policy? Because, look, this week or the last week, we have had Kevin McCarthy and Steve Scalise, and they talk about a growth and prosperity agenda. They're just, you know, not in power for another few weeks. But I never hear that. I mean, I heard it from Rand Paul, and I've heard it from Ted Cruz, but the leadership never says that, never talks about growth and prosperity. Not Mitch McConnell. Thune was on the show, and he was kind of saying, maybe we should do this. There's no clarity. Where are they? They're not helping either their own political prospects or the country's economy.
And it's not complicated. It's drill, baby, drill. Let's use all the energy we've got. Where's the tax cut on the plan? I've always been the biggest fan of flattening those rates, as Steve Forbes has become famous for. And, you know, flatten those rates, get them down, broaden the base, get rid of all the green energy crap in the budget. Use that money to lower rates and let the private sector work.
When you say budget cuts, people think, are you going to take away my Social Security, Medicare, like that? They should lead with the list of the pork, green pork that's in that bill. And also the hundreds of billions of dollars that have not been spent. So you're not cutting, you're just not spending with the cash that they already have piled there. So this should be a no-brainer. So don't say cuts per se, say we want to get rid of this silly program, that silly program, and we've got $300 billion sitting there. Don't spend it. Simple.
And they should emphasize workfare, which would save hundreds of billions of dollars.
Well, that's the huge danger in that omnibus bill. They'll bring back the kiddie credit. No real work requirement.
Exactly.
They'll call it that, but
absolutely.
Yes. And so all they have to do is be hard negotiators. That is pay go. Don't extend that credit. We're not without a hard work requirement.
Permitting.
And say you close the government. We know Biden will get the blame for
permitting. Why don't they just come out and say, we want permitting, we have to open the spigots, and if you don't put it in the bill, we will shut down the government. Who cares? Look, the government doesn't shut down.
I'm so glad you brought up
Medicare and Social Security.
Those payments still go
That's
out.
right. I mean, it's the Washington Monument Syndrome. Nothing happens if you shut down
and all
the
that unspent money, they could use that to pay the payments of Social Security.
You know
and
what?
Medicare.
If they pay the interest on the 10-year bond 10 or 12 days late in order to get a good deal, I'm for that. All right? Show some gumption. Show some manhood.
Some spinal fluid.
I mean, spinal fluid is right. Rand Paul's right about the emasculation word. I mean, that's a tough word, and it went viral.
And you know what Chucky Schumer and Biden...
Stand up and do...
Schumer and Biden are basically counting on Mitch McConnell and the Republicans blinking.
And
they are blinking.
Well, they do advanced blinking.
And on that note, we will close this gap.
Spinal fluid. That's what we're going to get Mitch McConnell for Christmas.
I like that. What was the Webster Dictionary? I'll go back and look at it again.